What about factoring the risk of AI itself?
A diligent exercise, you have to do it. What is a real transaction? What is a fake transaction? You have to have integrated AI. So whether it is Swift or other payment systems, you have.
What do you think is the biggest mindset shift that banks need?
Clearly recognizing AI is an integral part of your controls and business development. If it is cyber risk, it's a business risk, not a technology risk. There's a huge difference. No banking can take place in the coming days without predictive intelligence, predictive security. Cyber security is a predictive security. You need to make sure.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Green Generation podcast, where we decode the future of sustainability and how responsibility and everything that we do in our everyday lives can start to sound better, feel better, and we make a better, greener planet. Or hopefully that's what you're able to decode and understand from watching the Green Generation podcast. I am Shruti Sitaraman, media entrepreneur and your host for today's episode. And joining me today is Dr. Sitaraman, a global leading voice in green banking, a sustainable advocate and author of Corporate Consciousness. And today we're talking about something that's so important, affects us in all ways. And we're talking about cybersecurity.
True.
Particularly, we're going to dwell a little bit into banking and cybersecurity and how AI plays a role. So what I'm going to dive into is, why do you think cybersecurity is such a big deal in banking today?
Well, the world is becoming digital. It's interconnected, interdependent world. Consumerism is playing. Digital advantage is the major change. Consumerism towards e-commerce. So essentially, if you look at the big picture, digital advantage has got huge business support through infrastructure creation. Digital banking is also risky because of the evolution of various frauds. So it's virtual world, virtual threat. That's what we need to understand. But there are solutions for everything. So the more we are digital, everything is digital today. Irrespective of the age, everyone has to be conversant with the digital support systems. So every walk of life, we use technology to the core. So digital world creates huge amount of opportunity as well as risk.
So how does AI actually detect fraud faster than human beings?
Because of the speed and accuracy, artificial intelligence, look at the patterns. We check the reports manually. It look at the exceptions and give you the report selection, only those exceptions. Rest are all checked already, tens of thousands of information. That's the kind of evolution we are talking about. So when it comes to winners versus losers, those who understand this technology will also recognize we need to map it into cybersecurity process, predictive process. So very important is to recognize the challenges and map it to business process. Ensure you have alternate controls.
And what about phishing emails? Young people fall for it too. It's happened to me. I've received a message from someone in my company saying, I got an email from you saying ABCDE, and I'm like, that was never me. So
whether it is emails, QR code scan, OTP, whatever it is, you have to be conscious of, or the link, any link which comes to you, you have to be mindful of where it comes from, whether it is authentic. There are fake links coming in, fake emails come. So you have to be conscious of what is true, what is not true. Unless you are confirming the authenticity of the happenings, whichever be the application, whether WhatsApp or email or, again, link,
calls
with a deep voice, deep fake, right? False positive, you can say even. That's the kind of threat we are seeing in today's context, and you have to be mindful of what is authentic, what is really valid.
Yeah. And what about insider fraud? Can AI detect that?
Absolutely. The digital intrusion is again attempted by hackers using artificial intelligence. So it's AI versus AI, you can say. Yeah, like business advantage, you see the patterns and start moving the consumer behavior and create products. The hackers also understand how they can get into the systems and hack it. So suspicious activity report can be tailored in any form of banking or any form of business, corporate or retail, treasury or investments, trade or any form of business. In banking, you can always look at suspicious activity report. The transaction patterns will reveal you the dangerous aspects of it. Those exceptions needs to be measured immediately, and simultaneously we have to map it to business process, so the auto-driven control.
I think insider fraud is a big reason why people start trusting all of these scam calls, because they start having internal information, they have your ID numbers, they have details of your life, the people you sponsor, etc. It's happened to so many of us in Dubai. There'll be somebody who calls you from the, say I'm calling you from the police station, and they'll give you all your details, which is what makes a lot of us believe the fact that it might be real. So I think it's great to understand that AI can also detect that, like you said, AI versus AI, right? But another question is that how can AI help auditors, chartered accountants?
Chartered accountants, today's context, computer-assisted audit techniques is very important. Artificial intelligence-assisted audit techniques, they scan the complete database and then give you what to check and what not to check. Because if unusual patterns are revealed to you, those are exceptions. You need to have a deep dive into it as an auditor. If there are authenticities, accuracy for those transactions, then you can ignore it for the time being. But most important is exceptions which are not authenticated, which are not accurate, which are not valid. If that is reported to you, auditors, you have to have a deep dive into it. And that's what the need of the hour. Whether you're doing a financial audit, cost audit, or tax audit, you have to look at objectively and measure it and control it.
So what happens during something like a massive cyber attack like the DDoS?
Well, that's where the contingency management comes in. Say you have a disaster recovery management. Cyber risk management is a very structured process. Cyber risk is not confined to only technology department. It's a business risk. Business continuity is at stake. That's what it is. If that is the case, right from the chairman of the financial institutions or the institution, which will be the business, you have to get involved. There is an established process, procedures, whom you should inform immediately. How do we make sure we restore the business on time? How do we inform the regulator? How do we inform the customers? How do we make sure staff are getting prepared for the disaster recovery management? How do we map this into business process so that the business without service disruptions comes into action? It's typical in banking terms. So essentially, this kind of cyber attacks, if it can damage systems, how do we bring it? Core systems or subsystems, or again, intersystems, or intra-systems, or international systems, which will be the network you're operating, you have to have instant remedial measures in the form of disaster recovery management is a must.
Absolutely. And do you think AI can replace cybersecurity professionals, or do you think they enhance and go hand in hand with them?
They have to. No way you can, reject the human participation in the whole governance. Let's understand these dynamics. These are, based on machine learning language models, where accuracy is determined based on the data which you put in. So human intervention is there to make sure judgment is done and actionables needs to be activated, and these are interconnected. So you need to coexist in terms of operational management so that you protect value at risk. That's what matters when it comes to. So you cannot say without human beings, machine runs the entire enterprise. You cannot, because at the end of the day, you service the people. The stakeholders who are even regulators will have a say online real time when such disaster takes place.
Yeah.
Right? protection comes in for consumers and the society at large. So when people are involved in the business, you have to necessarily make sure you have proper relationship management, judgment is happening time and again based on those machine learning and observations.
Yeah, and the question is, can AI protect elderly customers or elderly people who tend to fear a little bit of, tech and scam, and because they're not certain or positive about how it works?
It is. It will. The reason is obvious because there is a generation gap between senior citizens and the younger generations. Gone are the days where they manually were operating in every lifestyle pattern. Now you have a digital advantage. Society is transforming towards digital support. It's a honest fact that elders suffer a bit, whether it is banking or shopping or paying your utility bills or going for healthcare support. You need to have certain literacy. But the help comes from the system. If there is a transfer, say for example, $1 million, elderly man is doing it. In an unusual country, this change of domain, the amount is also bulk. You have online call verification instantly. Have you done it? If he's sitting and sleeping in his home, then you can find the exception. There are digital arrests. People fake as if they are, as you rightly said in the beginning, they are from the police or from the government, and they force the elderly person who has got little awareness about technology or banking and force them to do transactions. And this unusual pattern immediately will be spotted by artificial intelligence if the system is well knitted. It will warn, don't go ahead. This is a fake call. Calls will come simultaneously to you or messages will come to you. That's what the need of the hour today. And that's happening in many pockets of the world. Established banks like HSBC or India State Bank, HDFC, again, ICICI, Axis Bank, Kotak Mahindra, some of the new generation neo banks, they're all fully equipped to give this alert for senior citizens.
Absolutely. And since now there's a little bit of awareness of all of these deepfake calls, the bigger question is that nowadays there's also fake banking apps. That is what is scary, is because there's always a new version. You can never predict when that app is going to come out. You'll download it, you put in your information, that's it, it's gone, right?
Yeah, so, web stores are there to buy. Fake web stores are there.
Yeah.
So if you buy the wrong one, it will only garner the information, and data gathering is done, and it will create enormous amount of confusion in the frame, and transactions can happen without your control. So that's why you have to be conscious of authentic source where you buy from, whether it is encrypted. And again, there are multiple levels of security, multiple authentication. So unless it's a genuine website, genuine web stores, don't venture into it. So you have to be mindful of what you buy, what you download, what 100%. You click.
No, I think this is something that happened very early on. I'm not sure. I'm sure you remember when we used to live in Doha. My credit card was used at like 4 a.m. in the morning for phishing products online in the US for like, I don't know, over 15K Qatari riyals. And thank God, like the minute you saw it as a transaction, because you're very diligent and you're working in the bank, you were able to reverse it because you know for a fact that I'm not buying phishing products because I don't go fishing. But situations like that where, what if it was a different website, right? You would have taken a minute to think about it before it might have been too late to reverse the transaction. Situations like that are very, very scary, and there are websites, apps. So just be extremely, extremely mindful. Even when you're younger, if somebody else is managing it, be aware. Keep everyone informed, educate, I think, as many people as possible.
That's right.
If you have children, then make sure they know how they're using their cards or whatever it is. I think it's very important.
AI literacy is a financial literacy.
Today with AI, I think it gets slightly simpler. Not slightly, a lot simpler. Back then, there was no AI to like predict this or reverse it, right? Thank God you were working in a bank, so it was easier
Today's
for me.
technology is AI technology.
Yeah.
AI is integral part of every tool which you have, whether it is machine learning or robotic process automation or quantum computing, which is again taking a bigger leap. So it's an integrated control and cybersecurity in substance.
Yeah. Okay. And how does AI help regulators in this situation?
Extraordinary set of opportunity because you have online real-time monitoring. Surveillance is set in by the regulators in the banks and financial institutions, right? So regulators have a watch. Consumer protection is measured. Transactions are measured. Exceptions are notified. Suspected activity reports not only comes to the bank, it also goes to the regulators. The Reserve Bank of India has a huge infrastructure creation in terms of artificial intelligence, and they have online real-time. They control the banks and financial institutions. So world over, we are seeing regulators are conscious of it. They invested in the infrastructure, in AI, and the central control, and the exceptions are advised upfront. Even there are global transactions taking place, you get knowledge sharing between the apex bodies, and then you have individual institutions are informed.
Yeah, but what about, like you said, AI versus AI? What about factoring the risk of AI itself?
That's the process again. A diligent exercise, you have to do it. What is true, what is not true? What is a real transaction, what is a fake transaction, right? Deepfaking is very common now. So even if you look at the big picture, that's where you have to have integrated AI in the systems, in every facets of human interface, in every facets of transaction connectivity. And in international terms, it is getting into action as well by global framework. So whether it is SWIFT or other payment systems, you have real-time artificial intelligence recognizing these suspicious transactions and showcasing it.
Absolutely. So what do you think is the future?
Future belongs to business who has got control. Banking with enterprise risk integration. Cybersecurity is the main strategy. It's a business strategy, business control strategy. Again, both are complementing each other, and the connecting linchpin is cybersecurity. Single most responsibility, when I was running a bank, there are many people ask me, oh, your single most responsibility is what? Is it the shareholders' dividend? Is it the compliance? Is it staff welfare or customer product creation or innovation? I said, listen, what is possible, I'll give 100%. But one thing I have to be conscious, single most risk, which I have to be constantly learning and making sure I get into it to fix the risk, is cybersecurity. That's the only thing which will hit your head every time when you come across some inevitables.
And for young professionals who are watching this, why should they care?
Because today the world is virtual, and they have to recognize virtual world is full of opportunities and challenges. If financial literacy, data accuracy gives you authentication in terms of substance. So you have to be conscious of all these technology tools and the allied challenges in terms of mapping them into business process. Cyber security plays a big role. Recognize the challenges in terms of cyberspace and learn data accuracy, data awareness you have, data literacy you create. At the same time, cybersecurity is also a factor you have to learn so that you fix if there are challenges.
And what do you think is the biggest mindset shift that banks need?
Shift is clearly recognizing AI is an integral part of your controls and business development. It's enterprise risk integration, and it is the business risk. If it is cyber risk, it's a business risk, not a technology risk. There's a huge difference. It's not a tool. Today, technology is driving the convergence in every part of human endeavor. Business advantage will be withered away if there are reputational issues, if you're a financial institution, if you don't have proper systems and controls, and that's not your priority. If you don't understand No banking can take place in the coming days without predictive intelligence. Predictive security. Cybersecurity is a predictive security. You need predictive cybersecurity. You need to make sure that's your priority. That's a business strategy.
And if AI is like a secret guardian, then what's our role in this?
Our role is to amplify the information which you generate out of the AI, generative models, and then making sure you give quality thinking to it, judgment to the defect, express the relationship based on those opportunities, and make sure you have long-term advantage in real order.
Okay, so I think this was a great understanding episode or learning episode that AI in banking security isn't just about algorithms, it's about responsibility. It's about creating trust and protecting trust in the digital era that we live in.
Absolutely. It's a fantastic tool. But again, guarding the financial institution, it all takes one reputational damage. So you have to be mindful of it. Hundreds of good things institutions can portray. On one cyber risk can bring down the institution to the bottom. So reputation will cost you a lot. Trust you will lose if you don't have proper cybersecurity management.
Absolutely. So this was the Green Generation, where technology meets responsibility. Don't forget to share this with someone who banks online, and we will see you in the next one.
Thank you.
Thank you.